Another Saturday morning, another day that I am tired, more tired than I would like, guys. Thanks for being here. The weekly daily podcast. It's me, your host. I'm trying to get into the podcast without saying the intro. You know how like cool podcasts do it? They just like start mid cool rant or conversation. But I'm by myself and I'm not cool, so I can't check either of those boxes. So I apologize for that, but thanks for tuning in, guys. Another snowy morning. It snowed like the last couple Saturdays, which has been. I have mixed feelings about it. On one hand, it's like it feels really nice to just be kind of stuck inside to where you just have, so you just a free excuse to watch TV and sit by the little space heater I have and make some warm food and have an excuse to just lounge. I lounge so infrequently these days. I think I'm yearning for those times. So, I don't know. But it's also frustrating because I have a lot of stuff I need to do. I'm always so busy during the weeks that the weekends are my time to catch up on stuff. So if I do take a lounge day, then it's like I just fall behind, and that's where we're at though. Feeling pretty tired though. Like I said, the keto diet. I know you guys are tired of hearing about it. I'm tired of talking about it. I'm tired. I'm tired. I don't know. There's some joke there. I'm fatigued. I've made some mistakes over the last week or so, with the diet, which is I think kind of prevented me from going into ketosis or getting around that. And those mistakes, I feel pretty stupid, but you live and you learn. I'm in my head. I thought, excuse me. In my head, I was like, I know the keto diet. I've gone through a lot of different diets, and I feel pretty knowledgeable about food and diets and what has what. But I was wrong. I was having a little bit of honey in my tea. I was making these little date balls, balls made out of dates and pecans and coconut. And I woke up. I actually had to take a sick day on Thursday because I woke up with a terrible migraine. And I think like introducing some of that sugar carb kind of mixture kicked me out of ketosis or something. Headaches are apparently a big part of like going in and out of ketosis, I think. But I slept till like noon. I felt terrible. And so I just went shopping. Just went shopping at Whole Foods to get all the keto foods I got to do. And you know what? Too expensive. Not a fan of the price that I see on the receipt when it comes out of that little self-checkout kiosk that I have to use. It was $207, which, if I'm being honest, that might be a record in my life. I'm 35 years old. This might be the first over $200 grocery store session I've ever had in my life. And that excludes, if I go to Walmart or something, there's been times I've probably gone to Walmart where you get a little bit of food, but you also get some like things that you need maybe before you're moving into a new place. That doesn't count. This is strictly food, and it wasn't even that much food. I got some beef, some bacon, some cheese, some eggs, avocado, asparagus, broccoli, salmon, stuff like that. And boy, oh boy, is food expensive. But that's what it is. Spent a lot of money there. Came back. It's a cold, like I said, it's snowing. And I felt tired. I felt tired this morning. And I think it's because I'm still converting to ketosis. It better, with the diet and food that I've bought, not with the diet, with the strictness of my diet and with the food that I just purchased, I think I should be good in the next few days, hopefully, because I haven't run much in the last week or two. Also, the snow and stuff is really obnoxious. But with that said, excited to be here. It's another weekend. We're in February. It's Valentine's Day is around the corner. Who's doing something for Valentine's Day? I've never done a ton on Valentine's Day. I've had very few girlfriends on Valentine's Day, if I'm being honest. But don't have much of a memory of doing like anything super cool. I remember the first Valentine's Day I did, which by the way, I think what is today, the 10th, 11th, 12th, 13th, 14th? I think this comes out on Valentine's Day. So happy Valentine's Day. Guys, this is a pretty big episode. Not only is it Valentine's Day, apparently, if I did the math right, that this is coming out, this is the 1 year episode. And did I plan anything special for that? I did not. I forgot until just 5 seconds ago when I mentioned it. But pretty impressive that when you have about 6 total viewers, that somebody would put something out once a week. That's pretty impressive. I take pride in the fact that now we've been growing. The audience has been growing. I appreciate you guys listening. I'm starting to mention it a little bit more. I was very skeptical and hesitant to mention that I have a podcast to people, which if you don't mention it to anybody, then yeah, it's probably not going to grow. So I'm trying to do a better job of promoting it and letting people know about it. And as I go do more shows on the road, I'll be saying it more and promoting it more. And I think that's where I want to gain followers. I want people. It's not just that I want to gain people that see me do comedy on the road, but I think that makes the most sense because a lot of this podcast is me talking about myself and my journey with comedy, with stand-up comedy. So if somebody sees me do comedy, they probably, if they liked it, if they hated it, maybe they'll listen or watch it. But I think that's where people are most likely to follow me, maybe have an interest in following my career. So I'm hoping to do that more. Oh, man. But again, your episode and Valentine's Day. It's a banger. This is going to be a banger episode. I'm just going to yawn through the whole thing, and it's going to be the most boring one ever, but I'm going to promote it like it's the best thing ever. But yeah, Valentine's Day, I don't think I ever did celebrate Valentine's Day or anything in high school. I didn't really have any girlfriends in high school. I'm trying to think. I had a couple. In honor of Valentine's Day, let's go through my laughable, quote unquote, I can't even call them relationships in high school. My laughable brief stints of dating somebody very briefly to where I don't even count them in my mind as a girlfriend because it was so brief. Dating all the way back to middle school. Okay, middle school, first relationship. Again, shouldn't say relationship. First time I went out with somebody. I think it was like 6th grade. Her name was Lauren. I'm going to not say last names. Not that they would be listening at all. But just for privacy reasons. Lauren, we dated. We went out. Whatever you want to call it. The lingo the middle schoolers are using. We dated for 4 days. And the reason that we dated was we were on a field trip. And there was another couple that was dating. And we were like, I think we were trying to like prove a point. So we were like, yeah, we'll go out. Maybe the other couple wasn't dating. Maybe they liked each other, but they were too scared to go out. So I think we were just like, me and Lauren were sitting beside each other. And we're like, yeah, look, we're going out right now. You guys should go out too. Look, we're together. You guys should be together too. I don't know how that came up, but that was the origin of it. And then for the next 4 days, I desperately tried my best to avoid Lauren in the hallway because I was deathly scared. That's what middle school relationships are. As soon as you're like, do you want to go out with me? It's just like, I I like you so much I cannot see you ever again, okay? If we're in school, I have to avoid you. And I know that's probably not the common thing. Most people are probably like, no, I like this person. I would like to see them. I was the opposite, okay? I was a very weird individual. Still am, I think, apparently, according to a lot of people that I know that tell it to me all the time. But we went out for 4 days before, I don't know, she probably was like, look, the whole thing we did was a joke. We're not actually going out. I don't remember how it ended, but I'm sure she was in charge of ending that. That was middle school. And then I think in middle school, maybe like 8th grade, I went out briefly with this girl named Megan. And I have no memory. I have no memory of how we went out. I don't even think I liked her that much. Again, this is very middle school stuff. You're like, I don't even really like this person, but we're going out, so that's what it is. And I remember, I think, look, I'm not trying to make fun, but I think people made fun of her for having a bit of a mustache. Not like, maybe she shaved it. I don't know. I can't remember. Again, it was my girlfriend briefly, and I was like, I don't know. I think she had a mustache. Maybe it was, maybe her name wasn't Megan. Maybe it was Bradley. No, it was Megan, and I think it wasn't like she had a big mustache, but I think she maybe it was later on in high school, she started getting a little more facial hair, that's fine. That happens to everybody where we all grow hair, and you know, sometimes you got to shave it or wax it or whatever. Anyways, she I have no memory of this relationship other than I think I think it might have been over Valentine's Day. I think she got me like a hat and um I don't know, maybe something else I can't even remember. And I'm not sure, I probably got her something, but it was probably really lame. And I think I remember her giving me the hat and me being like, "Oh wow, that's like a purchase." When you're in 8th grade, a hat, $20, you're like, "What?" That's I was like, "I think she's more committed to this than I am because as I mentioned, I can't even remember anything about this relationship." That was probably 2 weeks long. I have no idea. Honestly, I forgot that was even a 2 week period of my life that I experienced until, again, 10 seconds ago. I'm just really digging into some memories that I have forgotten about. Uh, Not because they're bad memories, but just because they were, again, middle school relationships are like so unimportant. But then if we move forward to high school, really, really nothing for a couple of years. I think honestly, when I ran for president in 8th grade and I pretended to play a banjo and I sang a song, I think that burned my reputation probably pretty good. If I had to guess, I saw I saw on a Facebook memory recently, which is funny because I haven't been doing it over the last month or two, but I think I've mentioned that I've been trying to do a joke about how I ran for president in 8th grade and how I played a fake banjo and I sang a song and like it was just very embarrassing situation. And I talked about that, I think, on previous podcasts, and I've been trying to talk about that on stage. And I saw a Facebook memory pop up from a classmate who he wrote a comment on Facebook. And I think it was like maybe when I was in college. So it was years later. But he just like sent a comment that made me laugh. It said, "You still playing the banjo?" in reference to, because I did not play the banjo. That was the one day. One day I attempted to play a cardboard banjo and it didn't go good. Who would have thought? But that made me laugh. I saw that. Facebook memories, pretty much worthless, but that one, you know what? I'll give you kudos on that, Zuckerberg. Okay, that one gave me a little giggle. But I had ninth and 10th grade. I don't think I had much going for me as far as dating short stints. I'm sure I had a bunch of crushes that I secretly held in and didn't tell anybody about, Or I probably told a lot of people. I probably even told the girl, and she was like, "Ew, gross. You're such a tiny little child." Um, and then 11th grade, I went out with this girl. Ellen was her name. We went out for a week. Up to that point, that was the most serious thing I'd ever had. Again, not serious, but it was the closest. It was a step up from what I had been doing, where I was doing 4 day going out, 4 days going out with somebody, and I was scared to see them. This was like a week, and um, I met her at a friend's house, and I was big into golf at that point. I remember wearing a Titleist hat around, a white Titleist hat, which coincidentally a little bit later, some bully on the golf team stole from me, never gave back. I wish I could go back and really punch that kid in the face. Can't remember his name, but it was some country club name. Knox, maybe. What a jerk. Taking a little kid's hat and not giving it back. You're a real jerk, Knox. You know what? If anybody's listening who knows him, you let him know. I didn't forget about that, okay? But we dated for a week, and then the only thing I remember from that is went to this other kid's. We did like a double date movie in the basement of some kid's house. I think it was Soul Plane, if I'm not mistaken. I don't know how I remember these things. That might or might not have been the movie, but that's what my memory is, which I think is Soul Plane. I think it was like Kevin Hart, Snoop Dogg. I don't know. I couldn't tell you anything about it. There was a plane, and there was stuff going on in the plane that doesn't typically go on planes if you've ever been on a commercial flight. And then, she, I think, broke it off, and I still remember that honestly, this is probably when I had the first experience of like trying to act out after someone broke up with me, and then really realized in that moment it's not worth it. It's not worth it, because what I did, she broke up with me, and it wasn't even malicious. It was just pretty typical probably for high school stuff. But on AIM, if you remember AIM Messenger, you could put like an away message. So people would put an away message on there. And I think if I remember correctly, I said something along the lines of 1 week, not worth it at all, or something along those lines. And just in reference, it's just me lashing out because I was upset. Okay, I was hurt. She had broken up with me. I said 1 week, shouldn't have even done it at all, which is immature, but also whatever. It's not a huge deal. I put that on AIM away message. And I remember I went to the high school football game that Friday, and these two dudes approached me, and like it was like mafia style. They were like, "We heard you were talking smack about Ellen." And boy, I tell you what, I apologized so quick. It was embarrassing. I was like, "Oh, I'm so sorry. I was upset. I didn't mean it. Please don't hurt me." And I just felt foolish with that, because when if somebody breaks up with you and then you lash out and then you become the bad person because they had broken up with you, you gotta live and learn, and sometimes things don't work out, and you just gotta try to be mature about it and not immature about it. But that was that, and then the next one in high school, probably the only other one in high school, was a nice young lady named Mariana. She was from Costa Rica. Met her. When did I meet her? I think so this is what happened. I was a junior in high school, and she had moved. I don't know if she had just moved from Costa Rica, but she was a grade younger than me. And I met her in my Spanish class, which is hilarious. I was in Spanish 3 at that point. She was in Spanish 3 as well. Her native language was Spanish. And so I just remember like cheating off her all the time. She really helped me slide by that class with a B minus. I'll tell you what. But she was very nice, and we got along well, and that's what it was. It was just a friendship. She was in class. She helped out a lot. And then when I got to senior year, and look, I might be butchering this. I'm pretty sure this is the timetable of events. I'm really digging deep into memories here. But my senior year, I had an AP government teacher, Miss Hart, I believe her name was, and cool lady. I look back on teachers sometimes, and a lot of them were I didn't like, and they just were really grumpy, irritable people who just weren't good with kids, and I guarantee you they weren't good with just adults either. They're just kind of not great people. And look, no judgment. It's not just teachers, it's every you get a bunch of losers and weirdos in every profession. But Miss Hart, she was one of those who I remember she snapped on the class sometimes, and I'd be like, man, she's like being real moody. But now that I'm older, I realize that like she was actually pretty cool, and any teacher is going to snap occasionally because they just have to deal with so much BS that like you go in there in sixth period and you're like goofing off, and they've just had to deal with like 6 hours prior to morons like me. And then so just there's no like, hey Ben, let's chill out today. I'm gonna be cool to you. It's just like once in a while you get like a Ben, you're an idiot. And I'm like, whoa, where did that come from? Anyways, that was a tangent. Miss Hart, she wasn't AP. I was not an AP. She was government. She was the government teacher because I didn't take AP history senior year. And for some reason, she was not like friends with Mariana, but I guess a group of students would like go into Miss Hart's class before school and developed, like a teacher-student friendship. And I think at one point, Miss Hart, which is kind of funny to think back that she was like kind of part of the gossip. That's when you know the teacher's cool, when she's like participating in the gossip. But I think she said that she was talking to Mariana, and Mariana was like, ask Ben why he didn't ask me out last year. Again, I'm pretty sure that's my thought. No. Okay. I've got to back up, guys. I remember this. Wow, this is all coming back, and I missed a huge, huge portion of this. And that is that summer before senior year. So I met Mariana my 11th grade year. She was in 10th grade. We hung out. We developed a friendship. Hung out like at school. She was in my Spanish class. We developed a relationship there. Once we got to summer after my junior year, before my senior year, I was like, I'm going to ask this girl out. And she worked at a food line, a grocery store, right near my house. It was like a mile away from my house. And I remember one day I went with my best friend to the food line. And I was like, you want to come? This is such a high school thing. Do you want to come with me while I ask her out? No, thank you, dude. That's great. Could you imagine as an adult? Be like, hey man, do you want to come watch me do one of the most awkward things ever and very likely get denied? No, thank you, dude. I would rather fail on my own, by myself, in private. Well, technically it's still, the lady's there. She denies you, so it's not private, but it's private to me. None of my friends are around. But that's what I did. I asked my best bud, John, to go with me to ask her out. And it's one of those things that, like, you build up so much in your mind. I've gotten a lot better at it, but we all do it, whether it's asking people out or anything. Procrastination, the more you think about something, the easier it can be for you to just psych yourself out. So that's what happened. We walk in there. She's working. She's at a cash register, which is already like an awkward thing. Um, but I go there with my buddy, and we literally, I was so scared. We sat in the magazine aisle of Food Lion for like 45 minutes, to the point where I was like, I don't even care. I don't want to ask her out anymore. I had psyched myself out so long ago and been there for so long that I was just over it. But being there with my friend and like devising this whole plan, I was like, I have to ask her out though. So I ultimately went and asked her out, but I was like not interested in asking her out really. I had already psyched myself out. But so, anyways, I walk up to the cash register she's at, and, I'm like pent up with this anxiety. And I walk up there, and the first thing she goes, "Oh, the register's closed." And I was like, I know. I was like, I just came here to, to say hi and see if you wanted to go watch a movie sometime. And she goes, "Maybe." And I was like, okay, should I? And then I asked her, I said, should I get your phone number? And I gave her the one or the other, which is such a dumb thing. If I knew anything about the Pickup Artist, okay, if I had read the Pickup Artist, that VH1 show that I watched back in the day that was very weird. Guy who just wore snowboard goggles around his neck and was like, I pick up chicks. That's insane to me. Anyways, I went up and gave her the option. I said, can I get your phone number, or do you want me to come back here and um, check on it again if you want to go out? And she's like, yeah, just come back here. And so I walked out of that Food Line, and I looked at my friend and I was like, I'm never coming back here again for the rest of my life. I will never. This Food Line is dead to me. There's no there's no chance I'm walking back in this Food Line. That's insane. Are you kidding me? So that was the last I had heard. Like, I tried to ask her out. She said maybe. She didn't give me her phone number. She told me to come back to Food Line. I didn't. Fast forward to the end of the summer, to then into my senior year. Mariana has become friends with one of my teachers, Miss Hart. And at a certain point, Miss Hart asked me, she said, Mariana wants to know why you didn't come back to Food Line to ask her out again. And I was like, what? Dude, she told me maybe, didn't give me her phone number, and told me to come back. I was like, are you kidding me? She made it pretty clear that she was like not very interested. I was like, that's not how you give somebody the vibe like, hey, I'm interested. That's very much like I'm scared. Like I'm in public and I'm scared to just like be mean and say no. So I'll say maybe and leave it at that. And that's how I took it. But apparently she was interested in me coming back. And so anyways, that's where kind of things started again, where I was like, "Oh, let's start chatting with Mariana again." And we did. We started chatting a little bit. We were hanging out a little bit. Like, she came over and we watched a movie at my place with another couple, and she bought one of my dogs, my family dog, Dachshund. Her name was Ginger, a little miniature Dachshund. She got her a collar. And I remember I don't remember the movie we watched, but I remember she fell asleep immediately into the movie. And I remember thinking that was very rude. I was like, I invited you over here to watch. Not, again, this is like, I was a very innocent kid. I was in the basement of my parents' house. There was also another couple on the couch there. It wasn't that she fell asleep and I was like, oh, I was about to make a move and try to kiss you. Like, no, that wasn't even on my mind. It was literally just like, we're watching a movie and you were falling asleep. I don't know. I looked at it the same as if, like, if I asked you to come hang out and play pool. I didn't have a pool table, but if I had a pool table, you come over and play pool, and then you just sat in the corner and like fell asleep. Be like, this is weird. So she fell asleep there, but we hung out a little bit more, and then things took a turn for the worse. Where that friend that I had asked to come with me to ask her out initially at the Food Line, I asked him he came over and hung out some with us. And then she started developing feelings for him, and then they started dating, which is that was my first experience with real uh, adversity in the relationship friendship department. Okay, I struggled through that one, but that brings me to the final. This has been a just long-winded. This doesn't feel like the year, like celebration of a year of pod. This just sounds like all the failed mini relationships I had in my life. But when I was in college, I had my first like real girlfriend, and I think this was my junior year of college. We've been dating for a while at that point, and I remember I've probably said this before, but I made a dinner. We did a Valentine's dinner at my apartment. I remember I bought a table at Walmart. I bought the food. I was like, this is going to be good. And then I tried to make chicken parmesan, and I didn't know how to make chicken parmesan, so I literally just put flour by itself on top of a chicken breast and baked that. Like, I didn't know you're supposed to put egg and coat it. So it came out, it was just like cooked chicken with like a brown mini pyramid of flour on top. And then like I said, I don't know, it was such a terrible thing. But bless her heart, she was very kind. She was not one to judge. She was, I think, appreciative of my attempt. I think she saw that I tried. She was like, "You tried. You're dumb. You're an idiot. You don't know how, but you tried, and I appreciate that." So I appreciate that she appreciated that. But that's kind of where we'll stop there as far as the Valentine Day. I mean, that was the only Valentine Day memory other than getting a hat from Megan in middle school. But there's a rundown of my very short stint relationships for the most part. Not much of a ladies' man in middle school, high school. Not much of a ladies' man right now. My entire life, I'm more of a lone wolf. Okay, more of an independent type of guy. I like sitting here by myself on Saturday morning. It's a little chilly, and I just like hanging by myself. That's how I like to do it. But transitioning to a different topic, I want to get into a couple different topics today. One is, I mentioned it last podcast, I bought an ice bath. I paid $129 for a little basic setup where you got a couple PVC pipes and put that in there. You blow up a little thing, and it's kind of like a little mini kiddie pool to do an ice bath in. And I got that I think I had it during the recording of the podcast last week, or maybe I had just purchased it and was waiting for it to get delivered. But I've had it on my porch now for probably a week or so, and I didn't use it immediately. I was trying to build up to it, doing some cold showers. Now, just to get into why I got it, I mean, obviously it's a pretty big trend you see people doing, and there's health benefits to it and all this stuff. And honestly, I just wanted the reason that I'm doing the keto diet and exercise, like everything that I'm doing, I'm really trying to just optimize my physical and mental capabilities. Just trying to be the best human person that I can. Really just want to feel good. Honestly, just chasing that. I just want to feel good. I want to feel sharp mentally. I want to feel low stress and anxiety. I want to feel high energy levels. Want to feel good. And so with the keto diet and kind of transition over the last week or two, I've been pretty tired and lethargic, but I think I'm about to get beyond that, and hopefully we'll start feeling a lot more energy and just higher energy levels, just feeling better in general there, mental cognition. The exercise obviously helps. I haven't been able to exercise as much, like I said, over the last week or two just because I've been so tired, and I don't think it's advised really to do at least intense exercise while you're transitioning to keto, just because your body's like trying to figure things out. But the ice baths I've followed for a long time. Like I've done cold showers for off and on, like very limited, very short stints. But even back to like, I think when I had Lyme disease, like 10, 12, 14 years ago, um, because I had heard that it can improve your immune system. So I remember going from hot to cold. I'd go hot, cold, hot, cold. So I'd do spurts of like 10 seconds each. And then through the years, I've done some cold showers here and there. So I just been watching a lot of YouTube videos, a lot of stuff about the health benefits, how you get a dopamine boost doing ice baths, how you get improved circulation, better immune system, just a bunch of stuff. So I was like, man, I hate the cold, but let's see if I can do this. So I ordered it. I've been taking cold showers for like the last week. And honestly, I mean, it stinks. But like the first one or two times is like miserable. I mean, it's tough to, I was doing like 15 seconds. And now, pretty quickly, within a couple days to a week, you're just like, okay, this stinks, but your body like gets used to it. It still stinks. I'll do like a minute and a half. And it's a different feeling because it's all moving water. It's not, at least with the ice bath, you can like get in and just stay still. But it's also way colder in the ice bath, so it stinks. Both of them stink, okay? And I'm not talking about with my nose. I'm talking about they're not fun, all right? I'm using 90s lingo, all right? That stinks. Cold stuff stinks. But yesterday, which was Friday, February 9th. Wow, forgot what month we were in. I was like, you know what? I was planning on doing the first one on Saturday, but today it's cold, it's snowing. I was like, I'm going to do it on Friday. It's not as cold. Maybe that'll be an easier way to transition into it. And so I did it yesterday for the first time. It was 42 degrees in the water. So pretty cold, not as cold. I mean, if it's like really cold outside, some people are doing like 35, 36. 42 is cold. So I got in and I only did 40 seconds. I didn't just get in and get out, but 40 seconds, not very long. Today, the water was like 39 to 40-ish. Like I said, it's snowing, it's cold outside, and I did 45 seconds. So I was hoping to kind of at a minimum get to a minute and then build up from there. But little by little, I don't want to be too tough on myself. It's you have to be mentally tough. You get in there and you want to get out. So I want to be better at like battling through. But the issue is, and people talk about this, but your hands and your feet get so cold. And most specifically my feet. And so my body itself is really not that bad. It's like I could keep going for much longer with my body, but my feet the pain, it's like painful. The feeling like when you were a kid and you would play in the snow and your feet would get wet and get kind of frozen outside, and then you come in and maybe you like either just from them warming up in the house, or maybe you like put them in hot water and it's like needles. Well, it's like intense pain. And so that's what it is with the feet. So it's like my body can handle it, but my feet specifically are making me get out when I'm getting out. So I bought some water socks on Amazon. Those will come in tomorrow. And I'm hoping that those will help like keep my feet a little bit warmer so then I can get the full experience. Because doing 40, 45 seconds, it's tough to tell because, like I said, I've been lethargic with the keto stuff, but I haven't felt like that huge boost of like, oh, I feel alive. No, it's like my feet hurt and I'm getting out. So that's been the last couple of days. I will say I'm excited that I did it 2 days in a row. I'm gonna try to keep doing it. Honestly, I got up today and I was like, you know what? It's snowing. I don't want to do the ice bath today. But I went grocery shopping. I came back and I was like, I'm doing it. I'm doing it. You got to do it. So that's exciting. I'll keep you guys updated on that. I'm excited for that. I recorded. Honestly, I look so dumb. Maybe I'll share it. Maybe I won't. Probably won't. But on another topic, I'll talk about. Man, this time is flying. I spent 45 minutes. I spent 35 minutes talking about middle school relationships to where I have no time to talk about the stuff I was gonna talk about. But just quickly to go through the shows that I've done, I actually took this week off. I was feeling, like I said, very tired, so I didn't go out to any mics throughout the week. Did a show last night in Westminster at Odie's Music Grill in like the back room that they call, I think, Liquor Pie. Bombed pretty good. Which, to be fair, everybody was bombing. Oh boy, dropped the microphone there. Everybody was bombing, and it was just one of those. There was like an actual crowd. I mean, there's like 20, 25 people, but it was just one of those shows, one of those audiences where you're like, you guys do not want to be here. It was just one of those where you're like, they're not laughing much. And then you go to break the tension by just being in the moment, by being like, all right, you guys didn't like that one or whatever, and they won't laugh at that. So then it's like it's like metaphorically pulling your pants down on stage and still not getting a reaction. You're like, oh my gosh, dude, I'm trying everything, and you just left me here naked. But it was going to be tough from the beginning because there was a band playing in the other room, and the music was coming through pretty obviously, pretty loud. And then the mic had like a reverb on it, and then the lighting wasn't really good. It was just a weird setup. I was supposed to do 20 minutes. I got lit at 10 minutes. And I was like, all right, well, am I doing that poorly? Like, I honestly, I thought, because I was riffing on the room some about how like the music was coming through the wall and just riffing on the room, not in a malicious way, but just in like a, hey, I'm trying to be present, and there's obvious things that are happening around us, and they need to be addressed. You guys aren't giving anything. I feel like maybe I can break the tension by mentioning these things. Didn't really break the tension, but I was wondering if the host or producer was like upset that I had done that. And then he came up later and he was like, dude, that was great. You did. And I was like, well, I don't know if I would say great. I would say that was pretty rough, but it was, it's good to do those shows either way, because you gotta learn to pivot. I didn't feel great about how it went, but honestly, I tried to pivot. I tried to talk to the crowd some. I tried to do most of the things that you're supposed to do, and based off all the other their reaction to all the other comics, it's like they just were a weird crowd. So sometimes that happens. But tonight I'm hosting a show, rotating tab show at Emporium Brewing. I think they're in the Highlands, but excited for that. Should be a fun lineup. I don't think the snow's going to be, well, it's still snowing. Hopefully it's not an issue driving up there, but should be a fun show. Hopefully it's not canceled. We'll see. I have no idea. I never even know that it's supposed to snow. And then it's just like 10 inches of snow. But that's a brewery show. Like I said, going to be hosting. Looking forward to that. Then next week, I'm hosting some Don't Tell shows over the weekend. And then after that, I've got quite a few shows. So check out my Linktree, which is in my bio and my Instagram at Ben Dailey Comedy, if you want to see upcoming shows. I haven't updated it yet, but I'm going to try to do that today. We've got just a couple minutes here. and I would like to briefly mention, this is a random thing, but I've been watching. I don't know if you guys have heard. There's this guy, this millionaire, maybe billionaire named Brian Johnson. He's like trying to live forever. He's doing this. He's got a YouTube channel and he's got all these videos about his like anti-aging routine and like how to live forever, his diet, his um all this stuff. He spends like $2 million a year on. He's tracking all these results. He's like a human guinea pig. And it's funny because he don't look very good. He's 46 and his skin looks like an old person's skin. He's doing a bunch of stuff to his skin and he does not look good at all. He's a weird dude, man. I will say I'm intrigued though, because as weird as easy as it is to make fun of him, it's also like pretty interesting to look at it from an outside perspective to be like, okay, honestly, it's going to take human guinea pigs like this moving forward for us to, have some groundbreaking discoveries on health and wellness and things like that. So, check him out. Let me know what you think. He's an interesting dude. He reminds me a lot of the skin. I don't know if you guys have seen Prometheus. It's a movie. Charlize Theron, Idris Elba, and then a bunch of actors I don't know the names of, but very good movie. I like that movie. It's about they take this a spaceship to this planet. I think it's the prequel to Alien. But the whole, like, spoiler alert, but the whole purpose of it is they're trying to discover, I think, a way to live forever. That's a very basic way of saying it without explaining the entire plot. But this old guy, he is trying to live forever, and obviously in the movie he's got like prosthetics on, but that's what this billionaire looks like. It just looks like translucent skin where you're like, oh, that doesn't look healthy or good or young. Also, it looks like he's gotten work done on his face, like surgeries, to where you're like, okay, dude, you're trying to anti-age with all these experiments, but you've also gone and gotten Botox or whatever. So that's weird, but that's been fun. I'm excited about the next couple weeks. I'm working on some new jokes, guys. Working on just jokes about the American diet, cutting my own hair. I got a bunch of ideas bouncing around there. I got to really hash them out, and need to be working through those over the next couple weeks because I have to develop more material. I got to get more material in there. I'm doing a 35-minute set in March. I'm doing a 25-minute set in a couple weeks that's fully clean, and then I'm doing a run of shows, a tour where I'll do probably anywhere from 20 to 30 plus, with Edward Bell. Which, if you made it to the end of this podcast, the next podcast coming out will be with Edward Bell. We're going to discuss his album that's going to be launched and coming out. I believe it's out on February 19th. I think it's called Residual Income. It's a dual album with Edward Bell and Sammy Anser, two very funny local comedians, two good buddies. So definitely, we'll talk about it in the podcast. But if you're interested in listening, I would recommend going out and buying it. Honestly, it's something that helps support local artists anywhere, whether it's comedy or other people who paint or draw or make movies or films or music, whatever. Honestly, artists like that kind of survive based on people supporting. So please support. Go buy it. We'll talk about it more in the next episode. Going to do a deep dive and behind the scenes stuff on how we recorded, what it felt like, all of the above. So that should be very interesting. But with that said, I'm going to end the podcast here. Thank you guys so much for listening and tuning in, and I'll see you guys again in the next episode.